Hi, I'm David Gugino. Welcome to another video about money. So today we are going to be talking about an emergency fund. Now I've mentioned that in my previous videos, but today we're going to really talk about it as to why it is very, very important. Because we as humans go through something called life, and it's something we live with every day. So the average life of an average human being is you get up and you drive to work, and then you come home from work, or you do something after work, you hang out with friends, you do something with your spouse or something like that. But notice why I'm talking about the driving and talking about work. So for example, when you're driving, your tire might blow out. So then you got to call a towing company to, I don't know, get your car out of the situation that you're in. And then you got to pay for the car. So let's say you're paying for the car, but you take money out of like your savings to pay for your car. You take it out of your checking, or God forbid, you take it out of something you're trying to save for, like you're saving for something, and you take money out of that to pay for it. Or out of your retirement, you take it out of that to pay for it. But then when you have an emergency fund that's built up to maybe $1,000, you can pay for it with that. So now let's say you do take your $1,000 from your emergency fund and pay for the car trouble. Good, perfect. Now let's say it costs $500. Now you're at $500 in your emergency fund. Now, what do you do with that $500? You'll be like, oh, I could just leave it there and wait for the other situation. No. You build up your emergency fund back to $1,000. Now, why is that so important? Because stuff that happens to your car, or let's say going to work, for example, or like gas, or something wrong with your house or your place of living, it's going to cost more than you think. But also, it's not just going to cost more. You're going to have to pay for other things. You're going to have to pay for like utilities, so whatever broken down, you don't have to call somebody else again to fix it. You need to pay for other stuff, I don't know, just stuff so you don't have to call somebody every single time to fix it. Or you just have to pay something for something every month, for example, to keep whatever is fixed from not breaking down again. Now, that is a rare occasion, but the point that I'm making, or the thing I'm trying to say, is having an emergency fund up to $1,000 is something that you need. It shouldn't be something you want. It's something that you need. Now, you're probably wondering, well, David, why are you talking about this? You mentioned it before. Because a lot of people don't realize when you have to pull money out from somewhere else, I call it asset allocation. I actually learned it from Tony Robbins. Now, he uses it as an investment thing, but when it comes to money, you need to sort it out. You have to put it in different places. You need to have money work for you. You need to have spending money. You need to have retirement money. And you need to have money that's just there. Like, cash is king, as some might say. So having a fully funded emergency fund in cash lying around somewhere in your house, or more than that, is perfect. Because as you start to notice your money disappear because it's just in one place, that's when it becomes a problem. Now, why is $1,000 the thing for an emergency fund? Because, I don't know, you have an expensive car like a Cadillac, for example. Everything on a Cadillac is expensive. Now, if you have $1,000, there probably shouldn't be anything that's going to cost over $1,000 to fix. But, I mean, I don't know how I couldn't even fathom that, hey, it costs $1,000 to fix this thing. It probably wouldn't. But you could take that money you don't touch and fix it with that kind of money. See, that's the beauty of an emergency fund, is you only touch it due to an emergency. Whereas, like your checking account, for example, you use it to pay off your groceries, your gas, and stuff like that. But the emergency fund is you don't touch it. Now, the reason why you build it back up is because sometime you might have to use it again. But you shouldn't spend any more money until you build up your emergency fund. Now, the reason why I like to stress about an emergency fund is because people freak out when an expense comes up they need to pay and have to take money from other places to pay for it. Or they just don't have money in general. See, like, if you've got, I don't know, 13 grand to your name, and you have that extra $1,000 lying around somewhere, then you'd be like, well, you got 14,000 in my name. Yeah, but that other $1,000 is for an emergency. Now, you only spend stuff on your emergency fund if it's literally an emergency. Like with car trouble, you randomly get car trouble and have to pay for something to fix it. That's what you do. If all of a sudden you have a medical bill you need to pay, that's what you take it for. I mean, it's funny, an emergency fund for a medical bill. It's kind of funny. But the reason I talk about emergency funds so much or putting your money in different places is so you don't run out of money. And that's like something I've learned at my age is you have to have your money work for you and you have to have money in different places. I hear so many horror stories of people having just one account and they spend everything with that one account. Because when I was a server, I just used the cash that I made throughout the week to pay for stuff. And I was slightly miserable because I'm just like, I'm sick of spending all the money I've made. Not all the money I made, but like $50 or $100 of what I made this week on like going out or something like that. Because like I just had my money in one place for a bit. But then I realized you have to move money around. And the reason for that is because your net worth will, for one, build up. But two, like I've said, you're going to have to take money out of certain places. So for this emergency fund, for example, you just take whatever $100 out of it to fix something for an emergency. And that's why it's there. It's fairly simple to do. Now, how do you budget an emergency fund? It's like you just take a certain percentage of your income, maybe go to the bank and get cash out and just set it aside. And you build it up. Because I know some people that are watching this are going to be probably cutting it very, very close on their money goals or however much money they have. Because like if you take $10 and save it from your paycheck every week, I mean, that's like $40, I guess you could say, in 4 weeks you're saving for it. Now, you might not have $1,000 in your emergency fund, but let's say, hey, you have to spend $20 on this thing. Well, I mean, you got that $40 aside. You don't have to touch anything. And you take that $20 and pay for it instead of taking it out of your checking account or, God forbid, your savings account. But so this is what I want to talk about with an emergency fund. I hope you build that up, and I hope you just leave it there and don't touch it. But actually, the last thing I want to mention is keep building up your emergency fund. If it's at $1,000 and you haven't touched it, just take a certain percentage of your income and just keep building it up. Because now let's say you have $2,000 in there and you spend $500 of it. Yes, you have to build that up, but you still have $1,500 in there. That, for one, is used for an emergency, but it's just there. Like, you just have it. So that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. This was about emergency funds. Next week, I'm going to talk about annual percentage rate. But I have to do some research before I post that video. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a great day.